Field. It's empty now. We'll call it the calm after the storm, but look where we're walking right now. The confetti is everywhere from a huge celebration just a little while ago. I mean, they have that snowstorm out east right now. We have a confetti storm right now. Look at this on the ground. What a moment for 12s everywhere. What a long wait. 11 years isn't a long time for many franchises to go to the Super Bowl. You think about some good teams out there that have either never been or it's been 30 years or whatever it might be. But your Seahawks and the culture that's been set, going back for the first time in 11 years, that was Super Bowl 49, the one they lost to New England, the one we don't like to talk about. But how fitting it is, their return to the big game features this opportunity to potentially exercise the ghosts of that really tough loss in Super Bowl 49. Look at the sign up there. I know it's probably in mirror mode. I apologize for that. But you've got your NFC West champions, NFC champion signs on the scoreboard there. What a moment this is for this franchise. These guys work so hard for this city. We've waited so long to see it. I'm sorry if I'm making you guys dizzy. I don't want to just set this down. I want to walk you through the ceremony and everything we saw here. I'm going to take you one more. We got somebody doing snow angels out there, or confetti angels, people throwing it in the air. This is a celebration in every sense of the word. The Hawks are going back. The resiliency of this team. Okay, were there moments tonight where things didn't go their way? Or maybe they weren't at their best? Of course they were, but they always found a way. And this is what they've done all season. Whenever something goes wrong, they find a way to fight back. How about they lose in week 1, then win 3 in a row? They lose to the Bucs, then win 4 in a row. And then, of course, you lose to the Rams in November, and you've won 9 games and counting, hopefully 10, by the time we get to the night on February 8th. It's, oh my goodness, Super Bowl 60, what a party it is here. I talked to Julian Love about that. He said, yeah, a little bit of redemption. They're thinking about all of you when they're talking about their Super Bowl opponent. And that's a really special thing, because we're talking about just mere moments after clinching this important bid. And they're thinking about all of you and getting a little redemption for that one in Super Bowl 49. This is such a close-knit team. It's one of those things where it doesn't matter what's thrown at them. One side of the ball is going to pick up another. I'm going to set this down in case I'm making anybody dizzy here. There we go. Perfect. And what's really unique about them is they just find ways to step up when it matters the most, okay? Sam Darnold in the offense put up 31 points. 3 different receivers catching touchdowns in this game. I mean, you talk about being versatile after losing Zach Charbonnet, right? And K9 shouldered the load and scored a touchdown on the ground as well. You got to forgive me here. Oh, and I got to show you guys something here too. We got some of the confetti. So there you go. This is historic at this point, right? And it's just a really cool sign for this team that has done this all year, right? They just find a way to win. It's the culture that Mike McDonald built. It's just always being there for one another and being there for you for the 12s. Okay, so this is one of the best defenses. It's an offense that rises to the occasion. Special teams making big plays when they need to. This is the most complete team in football. And I know New England's tough on the other side. We're not going to discount that. That's going to, like this game tonight, going to be another tough finish. But how do you pick against the Seahawks? There's no way you can, just the way they're playing right now. And this is the hottest team in football, the most complete team in football, and they are an extension of their head coach, Mike McDonald, out there on the field. And I would like to remind you at this point, now that the Seahawks are Super Bowl bound for the first time in 11 years, that this summer was when those Vegas odds makers said that the Seahawks were only going to win 7.5 games. Well, they've more than doubled it, and now they're going to the Super Bowl. They have a chance to win the World Championship for the first time since Super Bowl 48 when they beat the Broncos. This is so special. The party that we saw out here a little while ago, now we couldn't go live on YouTube like we are right now for you at that point, but the party that we saw out here was just so amazing. I mean, you think about a Leonard Williams in the league for over a decade, hadn't won a playoff game before this season, got that last week. Now he's going to his first Super Bowl. I mentioned Julian Love, a guy who's been in the league for a very long time. He's going to the Super Bowl. And how about the journey of Sam Darnold? We're talking about a guy that, excuse me, a lot of yelling out here. A guy that was drafted 3rd overall in 2018, was forgotten about after it didn't work out for the Jets. And even then I caution people, like, it doesn't work out for a lot of quarterbacks with the Jets, right? And here he is, he bounced back. And then there was the knock. He led Minnesota to 14 wins, and everybody was saying, wow, he folds in the playoffs, or he folds against the Rams. I don't think he folded tonight. He rose to the occasion in every way, shape, or form. Kudos to Sam Darnold, shedding all those labels, proving so many people wrong. He is a Super Bowl-bound quarterback. You wouldn't have it any other way. He said that. He's like, we wouldn't have it any other way. To beat the Rams 2 out of 3, to beat the Niners 2 out of 3. But his redemption journey is so special. How many people back in March thought that it was silly to trade Geno Smith, to send away DK Metcalf? They thought it was going to be a full-on rebuild. No way. Not with this team, not with that coach. And there's a reason John Schneider is the executive of the year in the NFL, because they work the draft to perfection. Think about all the key plays that Nicky Manwari, your second-round pick, had in this one. Gray Zabel bolstered the offensive line. And you just move forward and you think about the way these guys are, in a lot of ways, homegrown. That 2022 draft class, Charles Cross, Kenneth Walker, Boye Mafe, Abe Lucas, Reek Woolen, Kobe Bryant, Derek Young, they're all still playing great things. 2023 draft, first rounders were JSN and Devin Witherspoon. Okay, so this is a team that, even if there's been turning points along the way, the coaching change, or this past offseason sending away Gino and DK, this is a team that's been built for this moment, and it came together because Mike Macdonald is the right voice at the right time. I'm just struck by how thorough he is, but also how locked in he is. I mean, they were playing for a chance at the Super Bowl, and it was the same approach. The schedule was the same at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center all week, and these guys found a way to do it. So if you want to bet on them to win the Super Bowl, it's because of the way they are built that way, that they never let the moment be too big. They're celebrating tonight, as they should, but they're not going to celebrate past tomorrow, I promise you that. It'll be all about the Patriots after this game, after this night, after they're done celebrating with their families. And that's a cool moment, too. I talked to Mike Morris, the reserve defensive lineman. You know, he's a guy that he was on the field with his mom and dad, and they're all celebrating. And you think about, this is amazing for all of us, right? This is amazing for 12s. But you think about these guys that grew up playing this game, that were in the backyard throwing a football around, saying, oh, it's the bottom line, the last minute of the Super Bowl, and you know, as like a fantasy. Now they're going to live it. And this is a special thing. This is something that we won't forget. They certainly won't forget. And it's deserved in every way. This Seahawks team has proven so many people wrong. Why not do it for one more game? And I know a lot of you out there, especially after the golden era of the Legion of Boom kind of slowly declined, right, have been kind of longing for something like this and wondering how long it would take to get the Seahawks back to the Super Bowl. And here we are. Here we are. Year 2 for Mike Macdonald, and it's done. Year 1 in the Sam Darnold starting quarterback era, so to speak, and it's done. And it's just a testament to what's been built this way, right? This team is looking for specific players to fit a mold, and that's the idea here with this as it moves forward. That's just the idea that it's one of those things where this is what the Seahawks want to be all about, and they have a chance to win a world championship. They said, every guy I talked to said they want to give you a parade. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be great to get a parade? Boy, oh boy, it'd be the first one since the end of Super Bowl 48. So the schedule is take a little time off, but stay in practice. It's kind of like when they had that bye week before playing the Niners. Then, of course, next week it is all about the Super Bowl. There's going to be so many festivities, so many different things that are going on. And in that way, it's going to be different. It's going to be hard to block out the distractions. But if there was ever a team built for it, it would be the Seattle Seahawks. That was not a Lumen Field firework. That was somebody probably at a tailgate lot. I don't know if you could hear that firework behind me, but people are excited tonight. Well, what a moment. This is so cool to see this team. And listen, how painful has it been the last few years to see the Rams go to Super Bowls, the Niners go to Super Bowls? Well, now it's the Seahawks, and they beat the Rams and the Niners to make that happen. So it's really special to see it in that way. I don't know if how many of you were able to check out this week's KOMO Sports End Zone. I said 23-20 for a final. Hey, it was pretty close, 31-27. You'll take a win any way you can get it, but now you get a potential chance at redemption against those New England Patriots after getting redemption against the Niners, after getting redemption against the Rams, and certainly a little bit of redemption after some frustrating years of football, at least by Seattle standards, in this town and in this franchise. So, wow. We're going to the big one. Bay Area coverage will probably start next week, a week from now. And it's just one of those things that you'll never forget. You never know how long it's going to take to get back here. How many of you maybe thought after Super Bowl 49 it would take 11 years? Probably not. But you just don't know. And veteran players will tell you that. Lock in and enjoy it at the same time, because you never know when you're going to come back, because it's not just talent. There's a million other things at play. And one of those worked out the Seahawks way, that they found a way to win because they are uniquely built to be the kings of the NFC West and the entire NFC. So what a moment. Kenneth Walker was great. Reek Woolen had a couple tough moments out there, but guess what? He rebounded after it. And that's what this team's about. It's not to excuse the mistakes, but they learn from them and they move on. You think about the defense sacking Stafford. First time Seahawks have done that since 2023. Darnold found 3 different receivers, and that was special. Jake Bobo catching one of them, Cooper Kupp, and JSN. So cool to see Kenneth Walker do his thing. This is a complete football team. The defense is excellent. It's elite, and we're going to see it on full display against the Patriots and Drake May. They will present their challenges, but it's going to be a really fun opportunity to see the Seahawks go for the world title. And boy, oh boy, I can't wait to give you live coverage from down there. So I'm going to let you all go celebrate in your own way. We've got some live reports to do in that sea of confetti behind us. So thanks for checking us out. Super Bowl 60. And the Seahawks are going to it.